Welcome back to Rowing with Restless Women. Today I have Sophie, and I didn't ask you how to say your last name.
Okay. Malahieude.
Malahieude.
Yes.
Malahieude.
Yes.
Okay. Sophie Malahieude. Awesome. Sophie Sophie's work grew naturally from a life lived across France, Germany, and the United States, and the inner transformations that shaped by each transition. She discovered yoga in 1997 and later Ayurveda practices that helped her understand how emotions live in the body and how awareness leads us back to ourselves. After navigating grief, identity shifts, and cultural change, Sophie realized that emotional overwhelm isn't a flaw, it's a message. Today, she blends yoga, Ayurveda, mindfulness, and self inquiry to help people understand their emotions, release stored tension, and return to inner steadiness with clarity and compassion. She has a book coming up, which is awesome. Beyond Emotions, Stop Letting Emotions Control You and Start Living with Love. That book should be coming out this year. It draws from more than 20 years of practice and study in yoga, Ayurveda, breathwork, and emotional balance. Sophie explores how the body, the breath, and emotional awareness can free us from old patterns and reconnect us to our authentic selves. Blending personal stories with practical tools, she reveals where unprocessed emotions live in the body, how self inquiry supports change, and why finding the root of our pain is essential for healing. The book invites readers to move through pain with compassion and to rediscover courage, clarity, and love. I can't wait to see that book come out. I think there's a lot of people that are going to love that book.
Yeah. I read I wrote this book after, uh all the ups and downs out in my life. And I think it was the
Yes.
sum of all I learned through what I was living.
Mm-hmm. So tell me about your early life and some of the first transformations you had to make.
I think that my first transformation was when I was about 26, 27. I entered a yoga class. It was back in France. And the teacher said to me, "Oh, you are too young. Yoga is not for you." And okay. It was odd, but I was really I wanted to try, so I asked him if I could stay. He was not very happy about that, but he agreed. So I said for 1 hour for the practice, which was sitting on a chair, and sometimes we were standing, doing one movement, one pose in and there. I find that very challenging because it was always about quieting the mind. I was like, wow, I was so much up there that I was not down in my body. So
Okay.
I find it very challenging. But I was thinking that there would be something more, and I wanted to continue. So by the end of the class, I came back and said, "Well, yeah, you know what? I would like to continue. I think it's difficult, but there's something there." And said, "No, no, no. I looked at you. It's not for you. You are too all over the place. You cannot focus. It's not for you." So really, he didn't want me back.
I
And
have
so
never
I came back
heard,
home.
never
Yeah.
heard of
Well,
a yoga
remember,
instructor saying, no, you can't participate. Oh my
yeah,
goodness.
it was more than 30 years ago. And I think at that time, yoga was pretty new. Well, it was not new, but in France, it was really new, and it was what is more about philosophy, which is everything. Yoga is
Oh,
everything.
yeah.
Yoga means union, body, mind, and spirit. So what we do in a yoga class is just the tip of the iceberg. So this teacher, I guess, was already up there, understanding the mind. Anyway, well, he didn't want me back, so I was very disappointed. So that was my first encounter with yoga, but I was really thinking that yoga was a lot of wisdom coming from India, and I wanted to learn more. And I was very lucky in a way is that when we moved to Germany 1 year later, we met my husband's colleague, and he said to me, you know, I'm a yoga teacher in the evening. Would you like to come? And I said, yeah,
Oh,
I want.
wow.
I was speaking 3 words in German. I said, well, can I come with my 3 words in German? And he said, yes, 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 just come. And I came, and because I was not understanding what he was saying, I was my eyes wide open, looking at me, or looking at him, and doing what he was doing. And I felt I was at home. I was in
Oh,
my body. I feel peaceful. I feel it was just great. So it's really what I learned is the root of yoga. There were no music, no distraction, just people. They were not having a yoga mat. We had just towel, and we were just practicing poses, breathing, meditation. Boom. And I loved it. I loved it. And so remember, it was more than 30 years ago. Um, I didn't have access to internet or stuff like that. I was just realizing earlier that Google was not even there.
no.
So I went into the dictionary, what means yoga, what means this and that, and I bought some books, and I was really at the same time I was learning in class, I was applying what I was learning in class in my daily life. If I want to
Okay.
reach up, I want to reach out not from my arm up there, but feel myself as a whole, reaching from my core, reaching up, breathing. When I inhale, I can extend a little more. So it's really, I had fun to apply what I was learning in class in my life. Yeah.
What were you doing in your life? What you mentioned moving to Germany with your husband, so
Oh yeah, okay. So
huh?
and that the thing is that I think that yoga arrived in my life at the right time because when I we moved for Germany, I quit my job and I was following my husband. So first I had to learn the language, and at that time we
Oh,
wanted to have a child. So I learned the language, I learned yoga, I got pregnant with my first child, understanding whatever the doctor said, you know. When I was there. Um, and then I did an internship in the company of my husband just to keep practicing the language. And then I got my first child, and then I said, "Oh, I'm going to stay 6 months with my child at home." And
yes,
after 6 months, I look at my child and said, "You know what? I won't be able to go and back work. I want to be home
oh,
with my child."
yeah,
And so my husband said, you know what? I can support the both of us. I think is that the best for our child. If you want to stay home, stay home. And okay, great. So what
yes.
I did was I made every research you can do on parenting and how to cook for a child. Everything. And in parallel, I was studying yoga just for myself because creating a new life in a country you don't know, you want to fit, you want to learn the language, you want to understand the culture, and it's a no, no, it's a job in itself. So I really
Yes.
embrace this life. And so after that, I went back part-time to work, and I got pregnant with my second child. Uh, and at that time, we had an opportunity. So my husband has an opportunity to move to United States. Hey, let's go for it. Um, Even though I thought it was just for 2 or 3 years. The plan was to go 2, 3 years in United States and come back to France. So that would be the time the children would go to school. And so here we are in United States, and what kept me sane in all those life transition was my practice with yoga. And remember, for me, yoga is not a physical exercise, it's a
Right.
profound practice, body, mind, spirit. Understanding what is happening to me, it's not happening to me. Life happens. What do I learn from it?
Right.
And so when we moved to United States, I said, okay, well, I have two young children. Um, so I have to learn the language because my English was not better than my German when I was moving in Germany. So I have to learn the
Wow.
language. Um, and then I thought, well, I like so much yoga. Why don't I learn more about yoga, get a certification, teach yoga, and so on?
Yeah.
And so was my journey. What I think is that it's always the anchor for me is my practice with yoga because it helped me to get a plan. I'm going to get certified, I'm going to study, I'm going to meet people, I'm going to teach, and all that. I'm going to put that around the life of my children. And
Yes.
my husband traveling half of his time. So it means that 2 weeks
Wow.
out four. I was a single mom. So I was thinking this type of life, since my husband can afford me to have just part-time job, I was blessed. And I would spend all the time, keep parenting, keep learning. And so from South Carolina, because we moved to South Carolina, promotion. We moved to California, and there we go again, starting all
Oh,
over again,
goodness.
still with my young children. We were in when we arrived in California, my youngest was 4 years old, my oldest was 8.
Oh, my
So I
goodness.
got my first certifications and continue, and I was keep moving this way. And yoga has always been my anchor in whatever was happening when I lost friendship, when I was, felt injustice in the world. I always come back to, okay, what do you feel? What do you feel? How is your breath? Can you slow down? What is the meaning? What is your limiting belief? And I always come back to that self-inquiry to, okay, assess and what do I do from it? And so when I lost my mom almost 10 years ago now, whoa, everything came back. I don't know. Grief is such a incredible moment in our life where we assess our relationship with the person we lost and we loved, and life itself. How
Yes.
it remind us that, hey, you know what? You are not here forever. You know what? What are you doing with your emotion? You know what? This anger, what is it hiding?
Ooh.
So when my mother passed away, it just blew into my face. And, what I'm going to do with that? Do I go to therapy? Do I find a counselor? Do I? And then, well, I'm a yoga teacher. Everything is going to be fine, right? Because I know
Yeah.
how to take care of myself. Except that sometimes it's not enough. And I
Right.
was feeling physically the pain. So one
Ooh.
day I came to see my yoga teacher and mentor, and I said to her, and she said to me, Sophie, how are you doing? How are you grieving your mom? And I said, oh, I think I'm good. So everything is fine. But you know
Oh,
what? I noticed that lately I have hard time to breathe. When I go up the stairs, and there is no reason, I didn't hurt myself, and nothing is wrong with me, but I
hmm.
am short in breath. And she said to me, you know,
Ooh.
Sophie, that uh, we hold grief in the lungs. And so in my mind, I said, of course I know that. Of course I know that. But didn't pay attention to it. I
Mm.
didn't want. And so coming back from this meeting, I said, you know what, Sophie? Let's face your emotion. Let's face the grief. What is it coming up? And the first emotion that came to me, and it's why I was hiding from it, was anger. I was angry. I was angry because my mother passed away. I was angry because I didn't say what I had to say in the time I could have the opportunity to talk with her. And I was angry and I was resentful and I was thinking that I was such a bad daughter. that I put a lid on it.
Uh-huh.
But it's where you feel the connection, right? The body is telling you, no, 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 no lid on it. Just come. You cannot breathe because there is something on your heart. You have to do something. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I finally got the message that thanks to my body to be so expressful, and I was, mindful enough to pay attention, with the help of my teacher, should I say, that I did the work. I did the work. And the way I did the work was always based on what I learned in yoga. Body, mind, and spirit are one. It's not separated. You know,
Right.
the very often, okay, I have a pain in my body, my hip or my shoulder, and I take a pill, it goes away, and then I move forward. Well, it might be just an accident in life, and it happened.
Yeah.
It might be also that the body is trying to tell us something. And what
Mhm.
is it that the body is trying to tell us? So we can pause and feel and breathe and express. And the more we go to the root of what is it I am feeling, how I am feeling it, how does it express in my life, and what do I want to do with that? Then we find our own path to heal.
Do you find, so you are teaching yoga right now?
Yeah,
Okay. Do you find that there are some people who are very in tune with their emotions and some people who are terrified of their
yeah,
emotions? So
yeah.
when you have those people who look at emotions as weakness and don't want to feel their emotions, or at least they don't want to tell anyone that they're feeling emotion. How do you deal with that with yoga and with the work that you do?
Well, so first, during a yoga practice, for me, I am guiding the class, so I can really invite them to feel without judgment.
Yes.
Because what we feel, it's not a weakness, it's not something we should put a lid on. They are messages. What is it that my body has to tell me because my mind is blocked or afraid to go there? It
Mm-hmm.
might be that at the beginning you feel, I don't know, I'm going to take again my example with the lungs when I couldn't breathe, right? Well, first what I was doing is moving through breath work, moving my body, because think of emotion also as energy. When everything is
Yes.
fine, energy is flowing, everything is fine, right? Someone look at you and he seems to be mean to you. They, okay, he has a bad day, emotion, boom, boom, that go through your body. You are not affected by that. But if you look at someone and this person has a mean look and say, oh, what did I do? What is wrong? Oh, maybe I have something. Then the energy come and get stuck in anywhere in your body. Can be your lungs, can be your legs, can be anywhere. And so, and then you say, well, that was not a big deal. But then you have a second one, a third one. And then one day someone is going just to say, well, I'm not feeling like I want to have a coffee with you. And then you fall down. Not because you are not going to have the coffee with the person, but because that's an accumulation of all those little tidbits of hurt that were not processed. So the,
Yes.
the build, and so when I teach yoga, my first thing is that move your body, breathe in, breathe out, let go. And
Mm-hmm.
um, now in a regular class, we are not looking for to specifically target emotions. But during my research in yoga, I did different training like laughter yoga, grief yoga, and yeah, there are things, guys.
I
And
love
so,
that.
and when I practice with a specific focus on free the emotion, understand the emotion. Then we follow the thread of the thought, and there is breathing. So we want to recreate movement. We want to let it flow. And then the emotion comes, what I am angry, this is so wrong. Do I put it back? No, you don't put it back. You just observe it, have compassion, and with strong breathing exercise, you push it away. Then you move into journaling, meditation, talk with your coach, talk with your teacher. So to keep processing until you find it's self-inquiry. It's self-inquiry, you know? You
Yes.
have to understand.
Well, and I don't believe that it ever ends.
No.
Correct? It is a process. Handling your emotions. I used to be in a group called Emotions Anonymous because literally in my early therapy, I'm clinically depressed, so I have to take medication. And I have since I was in my 20s. But until I found out that there was physically something wrong with my brain, that did need medication, I had these emotions that I could not process productively. I didn't know what to do with them. And I
Hmm.
would lash out, I would hurt people, I would not do myself any favors, that's for sure. But I didn't know how to feel them and work through them without without splattering them all over everyone else. And so
Hmm.
I think if I had been fortunate enough to discover yoga or meditation or any of those practices earlier in my life, it would have really helped me a lot. I have since discovered things that help me. I journal and I meditate quite a bit. Um, but we've moved so many times, I've lost connection with my yoga. I need to get back into it.
Yeah, and I think,
Mhm.
yeah. What I think also is that whatever the and yoga is not going on the mat and practice on the mat. Yoga can be you go for a walk and you are present with your breath. This is yoga.
Yes.
You cook with mindfulness. Your body is fully present in what you are doing, cutting your vegetables. This is yoga. So yoga is not just moving the body's fancy poses, right? It's
Yeah.
it's really it's just the tip of the iceberg, really. Um, but what I wanted just to mention is that as we are more in touch with our own body, we can observe the emotion. So let's say you are at the grocery store and there is a big something, and you feel that your anger is rising up, and then you want to say something. Then, if you observe, your symptoms because everyone has different symptoms. Well, I can tell you, when
Yeah.
I start to get angry, I'm very warm in my body. My heart start to really tighten, and my jaw is tightening, and I'm ready to burst.
Yes.
I observe myself. I know. So over the time, because I've always coming back to inhabit my body, I said, okay, Sophie, you get angry. Is it worth it to be angry?
Mm.
Or is it something that is hurting you? That someone is telling you something that you have to work. And sometimes I get angry with my husband when he said something and I'm getting angry. And the other day, he looked at me and said, well, Sophie, do I touch a point here? And then, yes. You know, instead of bursting and trying to
Hmm.
justify myself and blah, 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 yeah, yeah, that is touching me because I believe that I am not doing enough on my own, and you are
Mm.
just showing me that. So understanding ourselves, inhabiting the body through the practice of yoga, whatever your yoga practice is, can be just sitting 5 minutes every day meditating. This is yoga. It can
Yeah.
be you know what? I'm going to drive. I'm going to stop the music just to be very fully aware of the chord of the sign. This is yoga. Yoga is every day. So, when sometimes people say, do you practice yoga? Ah, I am yoga all day,
Mm.
all day, all day. Being mindful of talking with you now is yoga,
Hmm.
right? So the more we are mindful of our body, the more we can respond to the challenge we are facing, right? You
Hmm.
feel the anger coming up. Is it what sometimes it's better to be angry, just to stop a child running through the street, or if you have to brake, or
Hmm.
it's important to, but is it appropriate at this moment? And the more we know
Yeah,
about ourselves, the more we can go through that. Yeah.
absolutely. And so we've talked about a lot about yoga being every day. Is that the main point of your book that's coming out?
No.
Okay.
The main point of my book is about understanding the emotion as messages. Uh,
Okay.
and and I explain my path, my path to be more to understand what they have to say, right? Because I would say that the point for me to put all together was when I was driving back from my teacher, and she said, "Do you know, Sophie, that we all grieve in the lungs?" And, okay, like, she got a point. What is it? So the first emotion I discovered was anger. And so
Um,
going back home, practicing breathing exercise just to understand where I was feeling, how I was feeling it, what was there. And then I thought that I was really angry at my mother for the way I was feeling by the end of her life.
oh,
And so when I went through the process, I understand that, boy, it was all up there in my mind. It was
yeah.
not about my mom. It was about me, creating me story about my mom that she didn't love me. Where
Mm,
is it coming from? Resentment after resentment after resentment.
yes.
And so the book is not about yoga, is not about grief. It's about understanding our emotion, and I give tools to dig a little further. So
Oh,
it comes through my 30 years of experience in yoga and Ayurveda, because for me that has been to be the tools that I use every single day to heal myself. You don't need to be a yoga practitioner to enjoy the book and to understand and to practice. There is 22 chapter, so there is 22 exercise.
oh, nice. So this very practical.
It's a very practical book that is about inquiry, what is beneath the emotion, what I am going to do about that, universal truth, like we have time,
Mm,
right? I didn't talk with my mom because I
yeah.
have time. Well, guess what? My mother passed away. I didn't talk with her. What do I do with that? So
Yes.
I mix all my knowledge in yoga, Ayurveda, mindfulness with the experience I had in life, the way that we move in different places. And if you are in United States and you are moving from one state to another, every time you have to rebuild your life, every single
100%. Yes.
your friend, your support system, everything. So I mean, it's I would say, oh yeah, well, it's okay. I am used to. There is process there.
Right.
Saying
Right.
goodbye to the life we had before, say hello to the life we had to build. So it is built on the way that I was moving in different country and in different state. It's built on my the grief of losing my mom. I lost other people in my life, but I think that in my mom it was so big. Um, I talk about the effect on my health. I talk about how I came out of those challenges. I talk about becoming an empty nester. I mean, because
Yeah.
shift of identity. You are a working woman.
Yep.
You are a stay-at-home mom. You don't have children at home anymore. All that is
Yeah.
shifting, understanding that they are not who I am. They are the
Yeah.
role I have in my life, and creating a new role, right? So
Yes.
the book is practical and also based on knowledge, and there is and of course exercising, some exercise.
Oh.
So yeah.
Well, I definitely want to encourage, there you go, encourage everyone to take a look at that. I will put the link in the show notes if you make sure to send it to me after. I think I might have it, but I'm going to go back and make sure that I have that link. I
Definitely.
have three questions that I ask at the end of every episode.
Okay.
So the first one, if you can close your eyes just for a moment, tell me what you see in your mind's eye when I say wise woman.
Well, I see a woman with a beautiful dress and long white hair, with a lot of jewelry, um, and she's sitting on a bench, and she's complete. Yeah,
Mm,
she's complete. She doesn't have to prove herself. She learned so much that she's ready with a big heart to bring you in, support you, give encouragement if you need that, or just hold you if you need to be held.
I love that. I love that image.
But, but the woman I always go back when I feel low.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So my next question is, where do you like to roam?
Um, Outside or outdoor, anywhere can be walking in my neighborhood or going to the beach, or I love forest, but I'm far from a forest.
Mm.
Uh, yeah, but I like I feel home. I feel home when I am with nature. Yeah,
Yes, a lot of people say that. And I
yeah,
think it's absolutely true. We get a lot of energy from just being out in nature.
yeah.
Absolutely. And my final question is what makes you restless, but in a good way?
When I'm going to start a new project. When I am
Mm,
to start a new project, I am all over the place. It's super exciting, so I have to recenter myself. And I keep always having new projects. How I'm going to talk with people, how what class I'm going to offer, what workshop, what. So I have always those new projects. So I freaked out, but at the same time, it's really stimulating.
yeah, I know. I am like that too. I love to have a new project. It stimulates me and gives me energy. And but I do feel like sometimes I'm all over the place. But it's a good restlessness. It's a
Yes,
the restlessness that emerges in creativity.
yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, Sophie, thank you so much for being on the episode. I really appreciate it. Folks, when you get a chance, take a look at the show notes, reach out to Sophie, and definitely look into ordering her book. Thank you so much, Sophie. We'll talk with you soon.
Thank you. Bye.
Julie Noonan here. Thank you so much for listening to Roaming with Restless Women. If you're a successful senior woman leader who would like to be on this program, please visit podcast.intuitivewisdomcoach.com. If you enjoyed this interview, please share this episode on social media and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Your thumbs ups and reviews go a long way.